We're here with Phil Schreier, Senior Curator of the National Firearms Museum, for another edition of the Curator's Corner. Phil, thank you so much, sir, for sitting down with us.
Cam, thank you for having us on the program this evening.
And what beautiful firearm from the National Firearms Museum did you bring out to show us today?
You know, Cam, at first blush, this might look like just a re-blued Smith Wesson Model 10. But in fact, it's a very special and historic gun. Now, the Smith Wesson Model 10 is the standard 38 caliber police revolver of the 20th century. Literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them were made. It's 38 special, and it was literally the standard, you know, they call it the M&P for military and police. And it's still being produced by Smith Wesson today, which makes it, you know, 100 years later, this gun still has, you know, features that are, you know, on the market. People desire to have it. This particular piece has a wonderful and interesting history. The serial number is found right here next to the lanyard loop, and it's V3 is all there is for serial number on this gun. What had happened was during World War II, 1939, of course, the war started in Europe for the British and the rest of the Europe. The British were looking for a submachine gun that they could get out into production and get in the field pretty quick. Tommy guns were very expensive by the standards of the day. Took a long time to produce, very intricate, you know, machining to produce a Thompson. Smith & Wesson had a gun that was called the light rifle, little 9mm submachine gun, of which most of the audience out there has never even seen or heard of, because there were only a couple thousand made, and most of them were dumped in the Thames River. And that's because Smith & Wesson had gotten $1 million advance to manufacture these light rifles for the British government. The ammunition they used, though, to work these guns was different in pressure than the standard machine gun, submachine gun ammo that the British were using. So these guns didn't work when they showed up. And now Smith & Wesson, which had been teetering on the verge of bankruptcy before the war, found themselves owing the British government $1 million in cash against this loan that they had been made. So what they did was instead of paying them back in cash, they took the Model 10, the 38 M&P, and put a nice set of you know, smooth grips on it, Parkerized finish, and called it made it in the British service caliber 38/200, and started manufacturing those for the British. When we got into the war in 1941, that model, once it had reached serial number 1 million, became the Victory Model, and the serial numbers began with a V, and then eventually a VS was also incorporated in the serial number to show that the gun had gone through a safety, hammer safety change internally. But this particular gun, serial number 3, is in a presentation grade. It's a high gloss blue, and it belonged to General Julian Hatcher, the U.S. Army Chief of Ordnance during World War II, and eventually a NRA technical editor here at American Rifleman Magazine.
Wow, that is a great story. So this was number 1,000,003.
Yeah.
But number V3, and it went again from General Hatcher to here at the National Firearms Museum. Now, did General Hatcher donate this gun to the museum?
He did. He donated this and a number of other guns to the museum's collection, things that he had gathered up literally during his term as the Chief of Ordnance, and brought over to the NRA when he became our senior technical editor of American Rifleman Magazine. One of the other great pieces, and we'll get to it, I promise, in one of our future editions, is the Japanese Garand. A near identical copy of the M1 Garand, but one of 8 made by the Japanese during World War II.
Wow. Now, you said that this particular model was originally made for the British. So how did the Americans? We started buying these when we entered the war in 1941.
We started purchasing these for the Navy, the guards that worked at all the munitions and plants throughout the country that were doing war service. They were made in .38 special caliber for our use. The British use that .38-200. They're not interchangeable. In fact, when Hermann Goring was arrested by troops from the Texas 36th Division in May of 1945, he was found with a pre-Victory model Smith & Wesson Model 10 on him that had actually been shipped to Germany, and I think it was 1936. And it's on display at the West Point Museum in New York. And that's the pistol he surrendered to General Patch at the end of World War II.
Wow.
So we have General Hatcher's gun, though.
Now, what about you said the Smith & Wesson light rifle that ended up in the Thames? Did any copies survive?
Yes, there were a number of pieces that weren't destroyed, and then, if I get the story right, there was actually a couple cases of them discovered in Smith & Wesson's warehouse around late 60s or early 70s. Some of those were released for sale. They're semi-automatic, versions of it, and those there are a few on the out there in the collector's world. We have one of each of the two different models here at the museum as well, though.
Fantastic. All right, and now is this gun usually on display here?
This gun is on display in our World War II gallery, case number 63. It's a part of our permanent display area, which is open to the public Sunday through Friday from 9:30 until 5 and Saturdays till 7:30.
Phil Schreier, thank you so much, sir, for another great edition of the Curator's Corner.
Thank you again, Ken.